Good morning, students. In previous video we discussed about Sale of Goods Act and procedure, and in today's video we will discuss about transfer of property and how ownership transfers from seller to buyer, and we are going to discuss about this through slides. Go and check.
Transfer of property. Yes. Every contract of sale of goods aims at transferring the ownership, that is, passing of property in goods from seller to the buyer, and it is stated in Transfer of Property Act 1882. So, according to the Transfer of Property Act 1882, transfer of property means an act of which a person conveys property to one or more persons. So, this transfer of property from seller to buyer is considered as transferring ownership. Okay, the act of transfer may be done in the present time or for the future. So it's not compulsory that transfer of property has to be done immediately. In certain cases, it will be for future also. So the persons to whom we can consider as persons in Transfer of Property Act are individuals, company, or associations or body of individuals, and any kind of property may be transferred, including transfer of immovable property. Immovable property means a property which cannot be moved from one place to another place. But in this Transfer of Property Act 1882, we can consider transfer of property includes even immovable property also. So, accepting of Transfer of Property Act means the seller should be ready to transfer ownership either now or in future. Okay, next. Let us discuss about in deep about each and every step in transfer of property. So transfer of property, sale is the first step. So in the transfer of property, sale is the first step, and where transfer of property in goods by seller to buyer. So here sale means what we will consider actually transfer of goods from the hands of seller to the hands of buyer. So here a phase is given, transfer of property in goods. Let me stress this point one more time. Transfer of goods, property in goods means transfer of ownership of goods from one person to another person. So transfer of property in goods means transfer of ownership of goods from one person to another person, because we are considering only goods in this Sale of Goods Act, and transfer of goods from person to person. Next one, transfer of property in goods is different from possession of goods. So possession of goods means to whom with the goods are. In whose hands the goods are, actually it is called as possession of goods. So transfer of property in goods is definitely different from possession of goods. So check it on this slide. Possession of goods refers to the custody over the goods. Possession of goods refers to custody over the goods, means in whose hands the goods are actually levied. In whose hands the goods are with. It's called as possession of goods. Come to the point of property in goods means ownership over the goods. Means who is the actual owner of the goods. So these two words plays a vital role in the transfer of property of goods. Means possession of goods as well as ownership of goods. Ownership means who is the real owner of the good, and possession means in whose hands or with whom the goods are levied. Okay, ma'am? Next, importance of transfer of property. Is it really important to know about transfer of property? Yes, because in the Sale of Goods Act, we have seen very clearly that in the transfer of property, sale plays a vital role. And at the time of we are discussing about transfer of property, it plays a very, very important role. And that important role, especially it involves at the task of risk. So, always transfer of property involves risk follows ownership if the property has passed to buyer. So if seller is the owner and if he keep goods along with him, definitely the risk should be levied in the hands of seller. And suppose if it is transferred to buyer, then the buyer will become owner of goods and he has to bear the risk on commodities. Okay, so that's why in this slide check, risk follows ownership. If property has passed to the buyer, he becomes the owner of the goods, and then the risk of destruction, damage or loss. So, buyer has to bear each and every risk after transfer of ownership. And action against third party if goods are damaged by action of third parties. If goods are damaged, then only owner of the goods can take the action. Suppose if the goods are moving from one person to another person, means from seller to buyer, and if any mediator is there, then definitely the risk has to be borne by owner of the goods. It may be seller, it may be buyer, but once the goods are transferring, then definitely transfer of property, suit for price, seller become entitled to recover price of goods only when property in goods has passes to buyer. Suit for price. Suit for price means seller can file a case when to recover the money or recover the price of goods only when property of goods has passed to buyer, means when ownership transferred to buyer, and if seller could not recover the price, then seller can file a suit against buyer. And if at all in case of insolvency, if ownership has passed to buyer and if buyer become insolvent, then buyer's nominees or buyer's official receivers can take possession of goods or vice versa, means any other can take. So here two instances we can see as importance of transfer of property in this slide. If seller is unable to get the price of sales, and if buyer is not willing to pay, but if ownership transfer, then buyer can sue for the price. And in the second instant, if buyer become insolvent and if buyer is unable to pay sale price, in that situation, the buyer's nominees or buyer's official receivers has to pay sale price if ownership transferred to buyer. Okay, next, in what time and in which time the property will passes. So we have to mention very clearly and what kind of property will be transferred. So here there are two kinds of goods. Number one is specific or certain goods. Number two is uncertain goods. So we have two kinds of properties or two kinds of goods, and let one more time name them. Specific or ascertained goods. Number two, unascertained goods. So specific goods. Specific goods refers to, or ascertained goods refers to identified goods at the time of making contract of sale. So at the when sale activity is making and when a contract is going to made between seller and buyer, and it is through the goods which are identified and goods that are existing at the time of contract of sale, and if they are identified and agreed upon time of sale, are called as a specific or ascertained goods. And to state about specific goods, it is given under section 19 of Sale of Goods Act, that, and they have given very clearly what are specific goods and ascertained goods. Let's check. Where there is a contract for sale of specific or ascertained goods and the property in them is transferred to buyer at such time as the parties to contract intended to be transferred. So, a good is identified, buyer and the seller are ready to do the sale activity, and when goods are going to transfer from seller to buyer by paying the price, that goods are called as specific or certain goods. Okay, specific or certain goods. And let us check what are the rules that are considered for specific or ascertained goods. So to ascertaining the goods means how to value the goods. So it is given in section 22, section 24. Number 1, passing of property at a time of contract where there is a unconditional contract for sale of goods in deliberate state. So passing of property at the time of making a sale activity and there are no terms and conditions, and the sale activity is made without anything, deliberately in the free state. The property in goods passes to buyer when contract is made, immediate transfer of ownership. The payment of price of delivery does not prevent property in goods passing at once. So here price doesn't matter. When certain goods, you are ascertain the goods, you valued the goods, yes, this is the value for the good, and in that instant, if price paid, immediately ownership will be transferred by from seller to buyer. Next one, passing of property delayed beyond the date of contract. Passing of property delayed beyond the date of contract. Goods not in deliberate state, goods not in a particular state, and something has to be done by the seller to put them in a deliberate state. Property passes only when such things is done and the buyer has notice thereof. So passing of property delayed from seller to buyer. In that situation, the buyer has to mention the state of condition of transfer of property, and it should be stated because it is a specific good, it's not one, and it is ascertained good. In that case, goods when they are not in a deliverable state and something is not is going to positive, in that case seller is to put them in a deliverable state. Seller has to make it to transfer it, and property is able to transfer from seller to buyer in where the buyer got notice from seller. Next one, passing of property delayed beyond date of contract. Passing of property delayed beyond the date of contract. Yes, for every contract there is stipulation of time. Compulsory time duration should be there. Once the time duration over, the contract is going to lapse. In that state, if property delayed while transferring them, then when the price of goods to be ascertained by weighing or measurement, where there is a contractor for the sale of specific goods in a deliverable state, but seller is bound to weigh, test or do some other things with reference to them for ascertaining the price, the property does not pass till such act or things is done and the buyer has noticed of it. So while passing the property, if any delay is there from the side of seller and if the date is going to lapse, in that situation the price of goods should be done and should be ascertained either by measuring the goods or by weighing the goods, and seller has to mention specifically what kind of good it is and is it in deliverable condition or not. And if it is a deliverable condition, seller has to test it and it should be sent to buyer. If any delay is there, then a prior notice should be given to buyer that the good is going to transfer in future date. Okay, next one, what will happen in the case of unascertained goods or future goods? Unascertained goods means the goods which are not specific goods. When the goods are not specific goods, we cannot ascertain them. They are unascertainable goods. And we call those goods as future goods, or also the goods which are not identified at the time of making sale contract between seller and buyer. Those goods are called as unascertained goods or future goods. Let me change the definition and let me tell one more thing. There is a contract of sale of unascertained goods. Property in the goods is not transferred to buyer unless and until the goods are ascertained. Process of ascertainment involves separating, weighing, measuring, counting, etc. Means at the time of making sale contract, the goods are just assumed ones, and goods are there in the contract but they are assumed ones, and we have given a name to unascertained goods, another name, that is future goods. Now we don't know accurately, we know them as assumed, but in future definitely we know them. So in the process of ascertaining the goods, unascertained goods, to assess them, definitely we have to follow certain processes just like separating, weighing, measuring and counting, so that now we will made a contract to fulfill it in future. So unascertained or future goods, it states that in sale, on approval or sale on return basis. Check clearly how this contract is going to made and how the ownership is going to transfer from seller to seller. On approval or sale or return basis, where goods are delivered to buyer on approval or on sale or return or similar terms in property passes to the buyer, because they are not certain goods, they are unascertained goods and they are future goods. And if this sale act contract, when it is going to happen between seller and buyer, definitely these conditions has to be applied, because future is uncertain, we cannot predict the future. In such case, we have to use certain words while making a contract: on approval or sale on return. So it should come from the words mouth of buyer that on approval or sale or return, so that if buyer is ready to take the goods, let him keep it. If the buyer is not ready to take unascertained goods, then he can return the goods. Okay, unascertained or future goods have certain essentials, and all these essentials for valid appropriations, because they are not certain goods. Okay, number one essential is that the appropriation must be of goods answering contract description. So when we are making a contract for unascertained or future goods, while describe whatever description is given in the contract and whatever questions that are raised about the future goods must be satisfied. It should be appropriate that answer should be given for contract of description. Next one, the appropriation must be intentional. There should not be any vague. There should be an appropriate intention so that the transfer of property for goods should be stated in a sale contract. Next one, the appropriation must be made either by seller with the assent of buyer or by the buyer with the assent of seller. So it is compulsory that the assent should come out either from seller or from buyer and with both persons mutual understanding. It should not be from one sided, because transfer of property is not going to be with one. Definitely the goods are going to move from one person to another person, that means from seller to buyer. So in such case there should be a very good assent from buyer as well as seller. Next one, always it should be unconditional. The appropriation must be unconditional. Why? Because it's not certain goods. These goods what we are talking about now, they are not certain, they are future. If we put conditions, it's not going to fulfill. So appropriation must be unconditional. There should be changes because the contract is not for present, the contract is future. The contract is not executed contract. The contract is executory contract which is going to fulfill in future. Okay. Next one, when uncertain or future goods are considered, delivery to carry. So delivery to carry without reserving the right of disposal is a delivery to the buyer and the property possessed at once at a time of delivery to the carrier. So reservation of right of disposal of goods until certain conditions are fulfilled. So when we take about reservation of right of disposal, buyer will put certain conditions, similarly seller will put conditions. Seller will say that I am going to deliver up to this point. If you pay my sale price, I am going to deliver. So it depends upon the conditions that are stated about the price of commodity. Then ownership will be transferred, and what kind of goods ownership? Uncertain goods ownership will be transferred to buyer. Next, transfer of title by non-owners. Transfer of title by non-owners, which is stated in section 23 and 230. In this point, there is a general rule that only the owner of goods can transfer goods and its title. No one can give better title than owner himself. So this rule is expressed by the maxim nemo dat quod non habet, means that no one can give what he himself has not. If I don't have anything, if suppose I don't have knowledge, definitely I cannot share with you. Is it not? I am the owner of my own knowledge. And if I decided by myself that let me share, let me transfer my knowledge to you, then only the transfer of title is going to be with other person. So that's what stated. So definitely transfer of title will play an essential role in transfer of ownership. There is an exception to this rule of transfer of ownership or transfer of title. Sale by mercantile agent. Sale by mercantile agent. It is an agent having in the customary course of business. As such, agent authority either to sell goods for the purpose of sale or to buy goods or to raise money on the security of goods. So here third party indicates seller, buyer, mediator. mediator is considered as agent. Here agent plays two roles. In one side of the coin he acts as a seller, and another side of the coin he acts as a buyer. But is it he real owner? Can he be treated as a owner of the title of the good? No. So it become an exceptional case where we considered agent. So agent is become exception to the rule. Another exception to the rule of title is that sale by joint owner. Sale by joint owner under section 28. So joint owner means partnership, more number of people. So if more number of people are owners of goods as a sole possession, in that consent, any purchaser from any person for value without notice at that time, the seller wants the authority to sell, acquire a good title therefore against other joint owner. So it will become transfer of title is become an exceptional case where joint ownership is there. And when joint ownership is considered, definitely while selling the goods, both owners or number of people has to give their assent so that this good can be sell. So here it will become a issue among people, number of people. So there should be a compulsory notice from others that they don't have any objection, then only it's going to be. So it will become an exception. Next one. Another exception is that sale by a person in possession under a voidable contract. Sale by a person in possession under a voidable contract as per section 29. Voidable contract means where there is consent is missing. So check it on this slide. A person who has obtained possession of goods under a contract which is voidable on the grounds of fraud, misrepresentation, coercion or undue influence can convey a good title provided the sake of sale takes place before a voidable contract is. No one can force you to be in a contract. No one can threaten you to be in a contract. No one can mislead you to be in a contract, or no one can influence you to in a contract. If any person or any sale activity has done, and if on force, if they ask you to take the position or to give the position, it will become a voidable contract, and such kind of contract will become an exceptional case to transfer of title or transfer of ownership. Another one is that another exceptional case to the transfer of ownership is sale by a seller in possession of goods after sale, resale. Sale by a seller in possession of goods after sale. Sale by a seller, yes. In possession of goods after sale means once sale activity is done and goods are transferred, can the seller has right to transfer the goods or sell the goods? No. So it will become an exceptional case in transfer of ownership. So let us check. A seller having sold goods continued in possession there also, or title of the goods. The transfer by such person or by a mercantile agent acting for such persons on the same as a sale, and goods are actually goods should be transferred to transferee, and if such latter person has acted in good faith and without notice to the previous sale. So simple. Seller sold the goods and the buyer purchased the goods, but buyer has not taken the possession, and by taking it as an advantage, seller sold it to third person. Is it valid? No. So seller has no right to transfer the ownership to another person once the sale activity is done. Okay. Another exception is that sale by buyer in possession of goods. Sale by buyer, not seller. Check it clearly. Sale by buyer in possession of goods, which is stated in section 30 subsection 2. So in this case, a person having bought or agreed to buy with the consent of the seller, possession of the goods or title of documents of the title of goods. So, the delivery of such person, goods or documents pledged or mortgaged to other disposal thereof will be valid and effective. If the person receives the same, it's okay. If the person receives the documents and bona fide one without notice of the seller's possession, then it won't work out. In simple, if the buyer taken the position but if could not pay the price, and if he would like to sell those goods to third person, it will become an exceptional case. Another exception, sale by an unpaid seller. Sale by an unpaid seller. Unpaid seller means a seller who is not received sale price either fully or partially. Unpaid seller means the seller who did not receive sale price from buyer. Buyer did not pay, seller did not receive. So any seller, if he did not receive a sale price from buyer, they are called as unpaid sellers. It is stated in section 54 subsection 3, and any sale activity by an unpaid seller will become an exceptional cause rule in transfer of property. So, an unpaid seller of goods who has exercised his right of lien or stoppage of goods in transit, even though the ownership in them has passed to buyer, and would like to resell the goods and convey value to other buyer through no notice of resale had been given to the original buyer. So seller should not sell it without mentioning or without informing to buyer. If it is done so, then it will become an exceptional case in transfer of ownership. Okay students, this is about transfer of ownership or transfer or passing of property from seller to buyer in Sale of Goods Act 1930. And in next video we'll meet with another topic. Thank you.